WFAA-TV, Channel 8. The spirit of Texas. This is the News 8 Updates.
We began to grab every bit of the blankets that we could, and take up there to them.
And everybody was just crying. I saw folks with blood on their clothes.
Two heavily armed boys are accused tonight of opening fire on students and teachers at an Arkansas middle school. 13 students and 2 teachers were shot. 5 of them have died.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us. The unthinkable has happened again. Children opening fire on fellow students at school. This time, 4 female students and a teacher are dead, and the suspects are 11 and 13-year-old boys. The shootings took place in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and Channel 8's Bill Brown has been in Jonesboro and has this report tonight.
School is supposed to be a safe place for kids, but on this day, this one became a place of terror and death. Westside Middle School is out on the edge of town, almost in the country. When the fire alarm bell went off, the teachers, just as they've been taught, hurried outside. But it seems that somebody had tripped the alarm to lure everybody out of the building. Outside, 2 young boys took aim with rifles and pistols and methodically started shooting students and teachers down.
Which truck are we going to?
People ran in panic, trying to get out of the line of fire and to save themselves. As the 2 young snipers tried to run away, the police rushed in to capture and arrest the 2 suspects. One 11 years old, the other 13.
And we heard the fire alarm, and then we all started coming out, and then we heard shots, just a few, and then we saw our principal coming at us and yelling at us, telling us to go in the gym. And they had locked the doors and just told us, and as we were walking, we saw bodies laying on the ground.
Whenever I got there, naturally, it was chaos, and we were the first ones there. And I didn't even have a count at that time, but they were laid all over the place on the ground.
The hospitals braced for casualties. In this college town of 50,000, people listened to the radio and TV bulletins in stunned disbelief, asking how could this happen, and the tougher question, why?
Every person in Arkansas, I think, would join me in sincerely praying for the recovery of those who are wounded, for outpouring of grief and sympathy for those who have died today in a place that should be a place of safety and sanctuary.
As the word spread, parents were scared, wondering if their child had been hit or was safe. Many of them rushed to the school to find out. Carol Thedford's sister-in-law is a teacher. She was shot in the abdomen and taken into surgery.
It's hard to believe, being raised in the community, that it could happen in an area like this. There's no way to believe it'll happen in your community.
7 hours after the shooting, West Side students came back to the school with their parents. They all joined in a grief counseling session. The 2 boys arrested are still being questioned by the police. It's expected both will be arraigned before a juvenile judge sometime on Wednesday. The people around here are angry, they're grieving, and they continue to ask why. Bill Brown, Channel 8 News, Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Thanks, Bill. We're hoping to go back live to Jonesboro in just a few minutes. Today's attack was the latest in a series of deadly shootings at schools across the country. The rampage in Arkansas is at least the 3rd attack since October. A similar shooting occurred at a West Paducah, Kentucky high school, and 2 months before there was a shooting spree at the high school in Pearl, Mississippi. That day, a 16-year-old boy armed with a shotgun killed 2 classmates and wounded 9 others. Before opening fire on the students, he killed his own mother. The young gunman was reportedly involved with a satanic group. And in December, a 14-year-old student in West Paducah, Kentucky sprayed a school prayer group with gunfire. 3 students were killed, 5 others wounded. The boy confessed to the shootings but said at the time he did not know why he did it. School officials said they had chills when they heard of the Arkansas shootings.
President Clinton and the First Lady say they are deeply shocked and heartbroken about the shootings in their home state. Vice President Al Gore says it's a tragedy that touches the entire nation.
It is premature to try to understand why this happened. There will be a lot of effort put into that. But our hearts go out to the families of the children who lost their lives.
For the latest on the shootings, beginning tomorrow morning, join us on News 8 Daybreak at 5:30, and stay tuned this evening for more on Nightline immediately following this newscast.
Well, also in the news tonight, suspended Catholic priest Rudy Koss very likely will be spending some time in prison. He pleaded guilty today to 3 of the 8 charges filed against him, just as his sexual abuse trial was getting underway. Channel 8's Doug Fox reports.
According to prosecutors, Rudy Koss was a cunning sexual predator, using the priesthood, gifts, toys, and guile to endear himself to young boys for an altar service program that was more than a religious experience. Assistant District Attorney Howard Blackman told the jury he turned that special program for altar boys into basically a flesh pool that he used for his own selfish sexual satisfaction. It was not strictly hyperbole. Just minutes before, Koss had pleaded guilty to 1 count of sexual assault of a child and 2 counts of indecency with a child, charges that could send him to prison for up to 20 years. His trial continues on 5 other charges, including 3 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child. 18-year-old Nathan Nichols testified Koss began molesting him when he was in the 5th grade, that it continued for 3 years, some 450 times, he estimates. But under cross-examination, he conceded his testimony now conflicts with earlier testimony when he said he had been molested no more than 15 times. Why didn't you tell anyone, asked attorneys. He was a priest, said Nichols. I didn't think he could do anything wrong. At age 13, I didn't think he was a man. He was infallible. Defense attorneys contend Nichols is not believable.
Not in my book, he's not credible. He's told so many different stories over the years about the events that I think that calls credibility into question entirely.
You can't expect some kid to come out and tell you everything that a molester has done to you. I mean, all the rape victims don't come forward and report it, and this is nothing unusual for him to try and minimize his exposure to this child molester.
But defense attorneys contend Nichols and other Koss accusers who won a civil judgment against the Dallas Diocese for $119 million were motivated by money more than anything else.
They did not go to any criminal authority. They went to the civil lawyers first in every case. And I think that, again, underlines the importance we place upon the issue of money as opposed to justice.
Testimony continues tomorrow morning. Doug Fox, Channel 8 News.
3 of the charges on which Koss is being tried could send him to prison for life if he's convicted.
A recent poll shows that most Americans think James Earl Ray did not act alone in the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And now a former FBI agent says he can prove it. Donald Wilson, who's seen here standing behind his lawyer, was one of 2 agents who impounded Ray's car after King was killed. Wilson says inside he found 2 slips of paper containing phone numbers and names. One had the name Raul. Ray claims he was set up by a gun runner named Raul, but no evidence of anyone named Raul was ever found. Another paper had the letter J and a 1963 phone number listed to Jack Ruby and his Dallas nightclub. Wilson says he kept the evidence secret because he did not trust his superiors. The plane that brought JFK to Dallas the day he was assassinated and returned his body to Washington has flown its last official flight. Air Force One Special Air Mission N number 26,000 today flew Vice President Al Gore to South Carolina. The Boeing 707 will take its place in history at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio later this year.
Well, if this next story happens, it'll certainly make history. Members of a Taiwanese religious group living in Garland are expecting the arrival of God in less than 2 hours. It's causing plenty of commotion in the normally quiet neighborhood. And Channel 8's Brett Shipp joins us now live with more. Brett?
John, actually the cult seems to be backing down just a little bit. Yes, they still spent their day watching the skies. They still plan on watching TV tonight at midnight, UHF Channel 18, waiting for that message from God about what God will do a week from now. But they are also beginning to acknowledge that it is possible that God may not be coming after all. But that hasn't kept 150 members of the God Salvation Church from worshiping and praying and watching the skies for what's that? A plane, and waiting for the big moment, allegedly next Tuesday at 10 a.m. when God comes to Garland, Texas to prepare humans for the end of the world. But until that time, there's a pretty good show right here at 3513 Ridgedale Drive.
Use the name of my Heavenly Father to cause all this, and it's ridiculous. And I'm sorry that you've done it.
One neighbor vented her frustrations, blaming the cult for turning this once quiet neighborhood into a 3-ring circus of street crews and cult members and reporters. with leering spectators trying to take it all in. Shirley Fain, who lives 2 doors down, has decided to check out some of the prophecies.
I think it has some good points, and I just think they're misguided a little bit myself.
Among the predictions, that the sun would cease to shine by today. Well, then there's the broadcast by God on Channel 18 tonight, and a physical appearance in 1 week. If these things do not come to pass, then what?
Let's go back. That's simple.
Cult members insist that if their prophecies don't come true, well, then it's not the end of the world, and no Heaven's Gate Part 2.
Suicide is not allowed in our group.
Police still are watching this group very closely. They're not expecting any problems, but they want to be prepared in case there is an emergency. And as for the cult itself, well, we expect to hear tonight from the leader, Master Chen, at about 12:30. He's going to come out, talk to the media, and tell us what he saw or didn't see on Channel 18. Brett Shipp reporting live from Garland. Shipp, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Brett, very much. An update now on yesterday's story about 2 rocks believed to be meteorites that fell in West Texas. They have captured the attention of NASA. A number of NASA scientists are taking the rocks from Monahans back to the Johnson Space Center in Houston for further study.
Well, still to come on tonight's update, one of the best-known bakeries in the state has a big sold sign out front.
The connection between a child's TV habits and their weight, what parents need to know.
And because of it, Americans are able to be warned about tornadoes most of the time.
An important anniversary when we come back.
Hello, I'm Channel 8's Jim Douglas. Ongoing advances in medicine are paying off for transplant patients. Coming up tomorrow on Daybreak, we'll have some good news about survival rates, plus more good news about the weather. Christine Kahanik will have your forecast tomorrow at 5:30 a.m.
Along in my automobile, my baby beside me at the wheel. We're cruising and play on the radio with no particular place to go.
The really scary thing is, you're probably paying the same amount for car insurance as they are. Call AIG now, and in 10 minutes you could save up to $200. Because we deal direct and insure better drivers, we ensure you get better rates.
This is your captain speaking. We have just received clearance for departure.
It's an all-aluminum 16-valve engine.
At this time, please stow all your personal belongings in the space
With
provided.
a double wishbone suspension that glides across the black top.
Make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their upright and locked position.
It's an unrestricted round-trip ticket to anywhere. It's the Integra from Acura. Lease the Acura Integra RS Coupe for $199 a month at your local Acura dealer.
And enjoy your flight.
Casino. Your biggest nights happen here.
We'll dance with Molly Ivins.
Talk babies with the 90s Dr. Spock.
And discover the healing power of faith.
It's Good Morning Texas, tomorrow at 9 on Channel 8.
As we told you at the top of the broadcast, 2 boys aged 11 and 13 are in custody tonight in connection with today's stunning school shooting in Arkansas, a shooting that so far has claimed 5 lives. Channel 8's Gary Reaves is in Jonesboro, Arkansas tonight and joins us now live with more details on the 2 young suspects. Gary?
Chip, the police here are taking a lot of extra precautions here. It's really the sheriff who's in charge of this scene. The 2 young men are in custody, that is correct, but you know, they're juveniles. We can't release their names. We can't talk to you about who they are, at least about what their names are. But this is a small rural community on the outskirts of what's not really that big a city of Jonesboro. There isn't a great deal of privacy here. The kids know who's been arrested. Their parents know. By now, pretty much everyone in this community knows. Tensions are running very high, and the sheriff has said he is taking extra precautions to make sure that the 2 young men they have in custody remain safe. Now, as I said, we can't tell you what their names are, but there are some things we are beginning to learn. This is what we do know right now about these young men. 2 boys have been arrested, ages 11 and 13. Police are questioning them, but they're also still seeking a 3rd youngster who is believed to have pulled the fire alarm that got the victims running outside where they were shot. Both of the boys in custody are believed to have been armed with both pistols and with rifles. Right now, we don't know how many weapons they were possessing. The police have said they were heavily armed. They will go before a juvenile judge tomorrow. Authorities would like to try them as adults, but it's not clear under Arkansas law if that can be done with boys as young as this. Now, as we said, everybody really wants to know not only who these guys are, but why this happened. And that's been a very difficult story to put together so far. Right now, what we do know is what we've been able to put together by talking to the children who witnessed all this and what they're saying about their classmates.
Candace Porter, she was a nice friend, very nice. Natalie, sweet, never talks about anybody or anything like that, just nice.
He was always talking about he was going to do it, and I never thought he would.
He always talked about he was going to do what?
He was going to come and shoot people and bring a knife to school and stuff, and I never thought he'd do it, but he did.
I just hear it from other people, from one person, that he had told that person about this, saying that he didn't like the idea of his girlfriends breaking up with him and that he would come and kill him one day. So, it's just what I heard from him.
Shipp began the broadcast by saying that the unthinkable has happened again, and it has happened in the kind of rural community where we think of this as a big city crime, and this kind of stuff isn't supposed to happen here. It's not supposed to happen anywhere. But as I said, a rural place. Channel 8's Bill Brown was one of the very first reporters to arrive on the scene. He joins us now with an assessment of what it's been like out here all day. Bill?
Gary, it's been an awful day here in Jonesboro. Certainly, I think people would agree, the most terrible day in the history of this small city. People are numb with grief tonight. It's starting to sink in. This really happened. Children are dead, a teacher is dead, and many more fighting for their lives in the hospital. We did find out that this afternoon President Clinton and Mrs. Clinton telephoned to Jonesboro from, they're on the road in Africa, on the African trip, to express their condolences and sympathy with the families. Of course, they feel close to this, the president having been governor of Arkansas. The flag behind us, I don't know if you can see it, but the flag is flying at half-staff here at Westside Middle School. We understand there will be school tomorrow. They want the kids to be able to have a chance to come in, talk to the teachers, talk to fellow students, and try to work through this and talk about it. But again, people are just trying to kind of put their arms around each other, gather strength from each other, and get through this. And we know that will not be easy. John?
Thanks a lot. That's Bill Brown reporting live from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Well, in other news, Mrs. Baird's Bakeries is selling out after 90 years in the bread business. The buyer is a huge company based in Mexico. Channel 8's Karin Kelly reports.
Mrs. Baird's Bread is a Fort Worth institution, the staple of millions of Texans, a company that puts Santa in its front yard for weeks at Christmas.
Merry Christmas, say ho, ho, ho.
So many will be surprised that a homegrown company based on family roots and recipes is going international to Bimbo of Mexico.
It's going to continue to be exactly the same as it has been. We don't plan to change it.
Chairman of the board Byron Baird is one of 95 shareholders in the privately held company. 92 are Ninny Baird's descendants, and they wanted to liquidate.
It is a very emotional time for all of us. There's some 14 of the family members still working for the company from the third through the fifth generation.
Bimbo will acquire the largest family-owned bakery in America for an undisclosed price. Mrs. Baird's employs 3,400 at 10 Texas plants. But the Mexican bakery is already a giant, with 50,000 employees distributing bread products in Mexico, the U.S., and Latin America.
Company officials say Mrs. Baird's grabs 54% of the bread market in Texas, and they expect that will continue to grow, even with the bakery sale to Bimbo of Mexico. New products are already in the works.
But the old name is expected to carry on. Karin Kelly, Channel 8 News.
50 years ago this week, a major breakthrough in tornado warning systems. 5 decades ago this week, 2 Air Force weathermen in Oklahoma issued the very first tornado warning. The idea of predicting a tornado was unheard of at that time, but the day the men issued the warning, a tornado ripped through an area near Tinker Air Force Base. That storm caused millions of dollars in damage, but no one was injured. We have come a long way since then.
Yeah.
It's still an imperfect science, of course, but we've got the satellites and all this Doppler
the radars. You bet. We'll probably be doing some tornado warnings before long, but fortunately not tonight and probably not within the next several days. Now, Friday's a thunderstorm day. We'll talk about that in a moment. I'll be back.
Live captioning of News 8 is sponsored by the law firm of Needham, Johnson, Loveless & Johnson. Obtain courteous and professional legal help if you or a family member need representation as a result of medical malpractice.
What goes downstairs, alone or in pairs, and even goes off-road. A thing, a marvelous thing. Everyone knows it's amigo. Amigo, amigo, for sun and love and joy. Amigo, amigo, it's fun for a girl and a boy. Amigo, amigo, for sun and love and joy. It's fun for a girl and a boy.
Amigo, new from Isuzu, battery included.
Grandy's invites you to sit back and enjoy a classic. Grandy's original, authentic, one-of-a-kind, classic country fried steak meal. Now only $3.99. A big, bold serving of Grandy's country steak, smothered in our unique cream gravy with mashed potatoes, a veggie, and 2 of our famous dinner rolls. It's the taste we stake our reputation on. The classic country fried steak meal. Only $3.99 at Grandy's. We've got your taste.
Hurry, it's $3.99 for a limited time.
Texas goes for trucks in a Texas-sized way, whether hard at work or hard at play.
Good news. During the National Dodge Truck Sale, we've lowered the monthly payment on this Dodge Ram to just $188, but only for 30 days, just to make its special low Texas price even more attractive. Plus, you get a Magnum V6, air conditioning, cassette stereo, and lots more. So truck on in now.
The Texas truck stop, the new Dodge.
Navigator, Lincoln's latest way to take luxury anywhere, is taking audiences by storm. After such a performance, what could we possibly do for an encore? Funny you should ask. Now appearing at your Lincoln dealer. The new, dramatically redesigned 1998 Lincoln Town Car. Still exactly what a luxury car should be.
The all-new Passport from Honda. Not only is it easy to look at, but it'll take care of all your chores with ease. The new 205-horsepower V6 engine will easily handle mountain roads, and the air conditioning, power windows, and door locks, and 6-speaker AM/FM stereo cassette will make it easy to get used to. But the best part is how easy it'll be on your wallet. Own a Passport LX for $265 a month for 36 months and a $2,250 down payment. Now, wasn't that easy?
Some pretty big thunderstorms tonight in central and southern California. Some severe storms in California's Central Valley and hail as far north as Sacramento. Why do I mention this? That's the system that will be headed our way probably a little more than 48 hours from now. So a couple of warm, windy days, but by Thursday night and Friday morning, we may have some storms here. Overnight tonight, trough of low pressure west of us is deepening a little bit, so it'll still be pretty breezy overnight. Southerly winds 10 to 20 miles an hour and gusty with a low of 60. Clear skies, some morning low clouds. The clouds break out to a partly sunny day, 72 at noon. And tomorrow's high temperature likely to be about 78 again, about as it was today, but the winds will be a little stronger. Southerly 20 to 30 miles an hour tomorrow and the next day as well. Clear at 10 and it's 70 out there now, warm evening. Humidity 66%. Barometer steady, wind is south at 15. And here's the way the satellite pictures have shown things today for us. The upper airflow still northwest over us, and waves of instability minor at that, moving down east of us. So some shower activity tonight in the eastern part of Missouri and central Illinois. But we are still under the influence of the high-pressure ridge. You notice everything was going around us, but that ridge is retreating, flattening a little bit, moving toward the east. And this next upper low will now begin to send us southwesterly winds tomorrow, thereby furnishing the instability ahead of that storm by Thursday night and Friday to give us possibility of some thunderstorms then. Now, a pretty pleasant night out there, really. 70 for us, 69 out at Abilene, 71 middle and Odessa, and the 50s across the Panhandle and Oklahoma, and what's in New Orleans, 60 right now there. Well, here's the way things have gone today. High was 79, 9 degrees above normal. Low is 55, and that's, 7 degrees above normal. Air quality today was moderate for the second day in a row, but barely so. And with stronger winds to disperse the ozone the next couple of days, hopefully not a problem brewing here. and the pollen counts 288 grains per cubic meter of air, mostly fungus, a little oak, and then some small amounts of hackberry and pine. Now then, here's the way things are looking tonight. See if we can track anything coming in on here. It doesn't look like much yet, does it? But finally, this tongue of cloudiness moving into the Pacific coast here, and you see in the Central Valley of California, as I mentioned, up far north of Sacramento, some thunderstorms with hail. This upper low system is splitting. The weaker part will go north, the stronger part will go south, and that'll be the one that heads toward us. Otherwise, temperatures tonight around the country looking like this. It's seasonally cool in the northeast. It's 38 in Washington, pretty cool night there, 35 in Cleveland. Now tomorrow, this system in the west begins to move in, moves onshore, does the upper low, and heads toward us. But as I said, it's a little over 48 hours until storm time for us, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow. Here's what things look like overnight tonight. Partly cloudy, breezy, 60. Tomorrow, morning clouds, afternoon sun, 78. Quite windy, 64 tomorrow night. Clear skies. Thursday, increasing clouds, high 78 and low 64. Again, very windy. Now, Thursday night late, we might get some thunderstorms, and Friday looks like a pretty good chance. Will they be severe? Probably somewhere, maybe a little east or north of here, but we are not out of the woods yet ourselves. We may have a severe storm day then as well. Saturday and Sunday, though, I think it'll be a little bit cooler, mid-70s, 50s at night with partly sunny skies on both days. So Thursday night, Friday, those are the times we're watching out for, but the weekend looks pretty nice.
Yeah, kind of a bump in the road before we get there.
Well, you could call it that.
Okay, thank you, Troy.
Well, how much television do your children watch? And could it be the reason they might be a bit overweight? And that's what researchers at Johns Hopkins University wanted to know. They surveyed more than 4,000 children between the ages of 8 and 16. They found that 25% of the youngsters watched at least 4 hours of television every day. And those children had more fat and body weight than children who watched television for 2 hours or less each day. Now, the survey did not determine whether it was the sedentary nature of watching TV or if it was the TV snacks that made the difference.
Probably a combination. Coming up next in sports, the Dallas Stars shake up the team's roster as they make a push for the Stanley Cup.
Plus, the story of a former North Texas basketball player on his way to the Final Four.
Basically, I'm cautiously greedy. I love the stock market, but I don't like a lot of risk.
How do I deal with this? By investing for the long haul.
Oppenheimer funds. The right way to invest.
Your Texas Ford dealer is making history with one of the lowest financing rates ever available, 1.9%. It doesn't get any better than this. 1.9% financing or up to $1,500 cash back on select Ford cars and trucks. Mustang, Escort, Taurus, low 1.9% financing. Windstar, Explorer, Ranger, and more, low 1.9% financing. This rate can lower your monthly payments and save you a lot of money. But hurry, it all ends April 2nd.
Before digital PCS can help you do more, you have to choose the right provider. Make sure they have the latest technology for clear digital calls. Of course, you'll want your phone to work reliably across town and across the country. Then ask yourself what company ranked highest in overall customer satisfaction among wireless users in Dallas-Fort Worth. That leaves Southwestern Bell. And right now, our Digital Edge gives you 300 extra anytime minutes at just 5 cents a minute until $19.99. So go with someone you know.
In a 9-to-5 world, where suits are the same color and work is the same day in and day out, we'd like to offer a change. Pontiac Grand Am, equipped with 150 horsepower, air, anti-lock brakes, and $2,000 cash back. Break away from routine. Drive the #1 selling compact in Texas. Now get 1.9% APR GMAC financing or $2,000 cash back on remaining 98 at your North Texas Pontiac dealer.
Sure, I want to be involved in my investments, but not overwhelmed. And our financial advisor has us where we get what we need to be confident.
Oppenheimer funds. The right way to invest.
Yes, Stars fans, it is true, huh?
Well, the Stars make their first trade in almost 2 years, and some fans are not going to like this one at all. One of the Stars' most popular players has been sent to the New York Rangers. It was not an easy job for Bob Gainey to tell Todd Harvey, a player who has grown up in the Stars organization, that he's been traded. But today, that's exactly what happened to Harvey and journeyman Bob Airy. The two are part of a deal that brings number 12, right wing Mike Keene and center Brian Scrudlin to Dallas. This is a trade that gives Dallas depth and leadership during this injury-prone spring. It's also tough to see Harvey go, a likable, energetic player who came here with the Stars in the summer of 1993.
The trade today that we made, Bob Airy and Todd Harvey, for Brian Screwlin and Mike Keene reflects our current needs heading into the stretch drive in the playoffs, as well as trying to address some short-term crisis situations because of injury. And the two players that we were asked to give up in the trade were players that had served us really well, and it's not without some regrets and some reluctance to see a player like Todd Harvey leave.
This trade is a push for the playoffs. New Jersey, Dallas fighting for the best record in the NHL. Philadelphia thought it had Jersey tied in the final seconds tonight, but John LeClaire was ruled in the crease here. Jersey and Dallas tied for the best record in hockey, and they meet in Dallas on Sunday night. In baseball, the Rangers beat Cincinnati 9-4 this afternoon. Texas with 17 wins, just 2 off their spring best. But Tom Goodwin goes 0 for 4. Looks like Johnny Oates is still looking for a leadoff man. Well, 2 of the best in the West in Utah tonight, Utah and Phoenix. Look at Karl Malone with the flu. He scores 2 there. And Duncanville's Greg Ostertag had 12 points. And the Jazz blow out the Suns tonight by 1992-73. Oh, and Stanford meets Kentucky at the Final Four on Saturday. Listen carefully for the fans cheering for the Cardinal Ryan Mendez. It's probably his family from Burleson. Susie Woodhams has their story.
But the Cardinal, an entry into the Final Four in San Antonio.
The euphoria of Stanford's final 8 victory over Rhode Island has even made its way to Burleson Junior High School, where the marquee proudly reminds onlookers that a Final Four mom works here as assistant principal.
Motion to Ryan to get in.
Yet thanks to a spring break trip to London that turned into a series of ill-timed airplane delays coming back, the closest Sandra Mendez got to watching her son Ryan score 2 3-pointers was in front of a television in an Atlanta airport.
We had to leave with 40 seconds left on the clock. We had to leave. My sister and I had to get to the next concourse to catch the plane. And so we thought Stanford had lost.
This is big time.
But what Mom missed, Ryan's dad, Roy Mendez, saw firsthand. The come-from-behind victory in the final minute that sends Stanford to San Antonio for the Final Four and makes Mendez the first Burleson graduate to ever reach the NCAA's championship weekend.
I was telling another one of the parents, did you ever dream that your son would be playing at the Midwest Final or now in the Final Four? I mean, you dream of things for them and hope always for their best, but what a tremendous opportunity.
Already, the Mendez jersey's been retired at Burleson High, sharing his face in the trophy case along with a plaque honoring him as the state's top 3-point shooter 2 years ago, and the score sheet from the career-best 72-point performance he had as a senior.
He had about 25 free throws. He had only about 4 threes. He had about 28 field goals, and it was just amazing. It was just incredible.
Just as incredible as this trip, one both parents say they won't miss.
I'm going to be there.
Absolutely.
Susie Woodhams, Channel 8 Sports.
And that's it. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tony.
Before we go, we want to update you on our top story tonight. 5 people were killed today when 2 young boys wielding guns ambushed students and teachers at a Jonesboro, Arkansas middle school.
The victims include 4 young girls and a teacher. Almost a dozen more people were wounded. The alleged gunmen are in custody. They are 11 and 13 years of age.
Stay tuned, of course, because Nightline will have more on today's shooting rampage. That, of course, is coming up after the update.
And as you saw, Channel 8's Bill Brown and Gary Reaves are in Jonesboro, Arkansas tonight, and we expect them to file more reports for News 8 tomorrow.
That's our news. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Now you can watch News 8 live on the World Wide Web at WFAA.com. Hello, Texas, and welcome to the Nissan Cross Country Sales Event. Nissan is offering cash back and 5.9% APR for up to 60 months. Get luxury at a great deal on a new 98 Maxima. $1,500 cash back and 5.9% APR for up to 60 months. Or check out the rugged 98 Pathfinder. You'll get $2,000 cash back and 5.9% APR for up to 60 months. Hurry to your Nissan store while the Cross Country Sales Event is still on the road and enjoy the ride.
What do you pack for a power trip? You pack the features GMC Suburban owners rate the highest, according to J.D. Power and Associates. Like cargo capacity, roominess, and driver visibility. The legendary Suburban, ranked America's most appealing full-size sport utility by the people who own them.
See your Texas GMC dealer today.
Information flows.
The story this outfit.
It connects people. And adapts to change. At the New York Stock Exchange, the world economy is shaped by a continuous flow of information. And Bay Networks is the computer network that keeps billions of transactions moving smoothly. Because when you control the flow of information, you control the flow of business. Bay Networks, where information flows.
See what I mean? Yep. You better update the manual. What do you mean it's going to take 5 months?
Well, first we gotta order the paper, then we gotta order the ink. Use a typeface, layout, color separation, bind it. Proofs.
We're not even talking about collating yet.
You better update the manual.
There's business as usual, and there's e-business as usual. HP, expanding possibilities.
March 24th, 1998.